I'm right where I left off. I haven't touched anything. I didn't even really think about what I'm doing first. Also, do I need to reset chat? I'm back. Hello, everyone. I should probably tweet about this too. I'm back online for today. I'm going to be online for at least the next 3 hours. Come join in. Tweet up. Okay. It says reconnecting in 2 seconds. I don't know if that means... I'll just refresh the page. Did it work? Well, I don't see my chat messages. I guess I'll type that again. I'm back online. Not sure if my last message is sent. Hey, Lapco. All right, so that was just an extended lunch break. I was gone for 3 hours and 20 minutes. So I'm going to write read Twitter notifications. Now, hey, Esku. One of the other things I've got to fix is the command, the Twitter command. Also, I figured out my air conditioner has a timer feature. So I had it turn on hopefully an hour ago. It's not that cold in this room, but it was on when I got back. So that's nice. Hey, Noob for lunch. What happened? I gave a speech. And I wouldn't say I got paid, but I got a half a pizza out of it. So take that. Suckers over there working for free. Not for pizza, except for me. All right, so let's do this. Open this thing, browse data, go to the quotes. All right. Now, oh wait, it's not even a quote, it's command. Now close out of this. So I gotta fix this. You're getting double chat. Hey again, Mike. Adcom Twitter, there. And hey, anyone. Okay, so where I left off, I just finished up the matchmaking algorithm and tested everything out. It should be good to check in after linting it. Yeah. So can I really trust that I tested everything out? Let's find out. Man, I'm thirsty. In that meeting, I got like a cup of water. And then I didn't drink anything else. Hey, Original Pepper. Mike says I was sitting here waiting the entire time. There's a quote for that. Nope. 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 All right, we're done. I can't find quotes. Oh well. Let's fix Twitter. That part's done. This I wanted to test. Let's make sure it works. Okay. So the wait time in the queue on average is 1.2 seconds. That is actually really fast, but then again, there are a lot of players coming through here. Oh, you know what? They should keep track of how much time it's been running for. Yeah, that's a really good idea. I was really curious what's on your ceiling. Nothing? No, there's two things. There's a sprinkler right around there, which I'm not going to actually point the camera at, and then there's a smoke alarm over there. But other than that, there's nothing. It's just smooth, no fixtures. Okay, let's put a start time into this thing. This dot time constructed, time started equals date dot now. Okay, so the elapsed time would be a good thing to know probably. And there should probably be a reset stats function, but none of that's important at that point. Nice, no skylight. Oh, I'm in an apartment, and there are apartment buildings above me. So a skylight would be pretty hard to do. Players by wait time. So time elapsed since time elapsed date dot now minus this dot time started. Except for this should really be formatted as a human readable string. Adam, what time is it at your place right now? So there's always this streamer time. Yeah, I should really. To answer your question verbally, it's 2:22 p.m. So there you have it. Wednesday, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. All right. Also, I'm curious. So I gave this speech. There were a couple of people who expressed interest in watching me after the speech. I wonder if they'll eventually show up here, although they might not identify themselves. But that would be interesting. Maybe I'll go on a speech circuit. Just keep attracting people in real life to the stream. All right, so time elapsed. Let's just format this as human readable. I don't have a library for doing this right now, but hopefully there is something. Hey, Kong Simon. So npm search. There are a bunch of different things for this. I just don't know which one I want to use. Format and manipulate numbers. No. Excuse me. Sorry. Date utils. Usable as a polyfill in Node or in the browser. Does it have formatting commands? I don't like polyfills usually. I don't like modifying the prototype of an existing JavaScript class, or object I should say. Documentation is here. They didn't even make it a link. Seriously. This is the documentation? This? There's no... What? This is not documentation. What does this do? Feature and changes discussion is here. I'm not going to use this. I don't like this. Well, there's something called like stirf_time. Moment.js. Yeah. I think you're right. And then there's this too, right? Yeah. Stirf_time. GitHub. They say how to use this here. Yeah, so this is what I expect out of this thing. How big is this library? Not that it matters too much. 23 kilobytes. And then you guys are talking about Moment. Let's go take a look at that too. I think I used this once, but where? Where would I have used this? But yeah, this is pretty nice too. And also one of the other things I thought was really cool about this is that they use the current time when they show you this. So everything that I'm seeing right now is being updated in real time. I like that. I really think it's a good way to make a website about a time tool. Yeah, use that. Moment is more than you need. How large? Their minified JavaScript gzipped is 15 kilobytes. See, that's the only thing I'm not sure I want. Oh well, let's just use this. It's not an issue yet. So we'll install Moment. I guess if you only need print format, stir time is smaller. Well, my mind's been changed. Uninstall. There, hey Spurtman. So there's 21 hours between us? What? Ola, where do you live? So install stirf_time. Okay, now let's try using this. So node const stirf_time equals require stirf_time. Also, before I forget, matchmaker package JSON. I gotta take this thing out of here. Good. So there should be a format, right? Where's format? Why do I not see this? Fine, I'll just read the. I'll read the documentation. Oh, it's a function. So what do I want to say? I want minutes. I want the number of minutes, and I want, oh no, hours, minutes, seconds, days, hours, minutes, seconds. Yeah, maybe days, hours, minutes, seconds. What? Day of the month. No, this doesn't. This isn't for elapsed time. How did the speech go? The speech went well. And hey, EJ, thanks for asking. Yeah, it went well. I got paid in half of a pizza. That was pretty nice. I wasn't expecting to get anything. Although I would have liked some of the cookies that they were serving. I didn't happen to grab one. Yeah, I think Moment.js is actually better for this, since or I don't know. Start of hour from now. How about I just do the conversion myself? What are the YHYS says, hey guys, what are the best books to learn JavaScript coming from Java? So I suggest a certain book. You find this Amazon JavaScript, the good parts. I think this is a good book, but it doesn't talk about ES6, or at least the first edition doesn't. Hang on a second. I'll be back in a little bit. BRB quickly. I'll be right back. All right, sorry about that. What else did I miss? The good part. I was turning on his oven again. No, my wife just came home. I just wanted to say hi to her. ES6 looks like an abstraction of JavaScript that does not help JavaScript. It just confuses more people. Yeah, I've seen that sentiment on Reddit a lot, actually. And I think that's fair. I think it's fine. And because ES6 is a superset of ES5, you don't actually need to use any of the features if you don't want. But it is going to be introduced, and there's pretty much nothing you can do about that. How do you make scripts like that? So you type BRB message in time. Kong Simon, this is just a batch file that I have. So BRB, for example, where brb.cmd. This is a really, really simple file. All it does is calls into Node.js. And I can help you with that if you need help with it. Oh, and if you're not on Windows, it's still shell scripting. It's just called, well, it's very likely you're going to look into bash scripting at that point. You're not necessarily forced to use the bash shell, which I guess is redundant, born again shell. Adding classes or sugar for prototypes. Yep. My teacher at college arranged a workshop on test-driven development at a big web store over here tomorrow where we'll be pair programming with their engineers. Pretty stoked about that. That's really cool, Zans. That's awesome. That's a really, really cool idea. Congrats to your teacher. And thanks, Digital Crosshair. Welcoming back is overpowered. Any good places to read about similar project? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about. If you're talking about just shell scripts, then you could probably find a lot of information on Stack Overflow. Thanks, guys. You're awesome. They look the same and smell the same. Oh, by the way, there won't be a lunch BRB today, but that's okay. It'll be tomorrow. At least Adam went to say hi to his wife in person, not just welcome her home by text message. Okay, and hey, Big Mac. Okay, great. So now we're back to work. And I should be here, well, until getting water or going to the bathroom or something for the next like 3 hours. Okay, so I think I'm just going to ditch this entire concept and figure it out myself, because that sounds pretty reasonable, right? Or do I have this already written somewhere? Till.js. I don't remember what functions are even in here. Has at least one day passed? No. Let's just search for all the functions in here. All right, so here we go. Nope, only one of these seems to have to do with time, and it's this one. EJ. Okay, let me try out moment. I'm gonna just do this. Desktop del test make dir moment cd moment npm init-y npm install save moment node con. Whoop, something happened. Oh right. Can't tell you how many times I do that. Moment test. Can I share with you my Ajax notes? Yeah, sure. He's now planning to ask all sorts of IT companies in the area if they have drinks after work on Fridays. Yeah, no, that's great. Like I said, that's a great idea. I mean, the whole searching for pair programmers part is great. The food and the drinks, it's a nice benefit, but it's the learning that I'm more excited about. So moment, what do we have here? M equals moment, M dot. So there's format. What if I did D equals new date? What is M dot to now D? A few seconds. It's pretty neat. But that's not. Oh, actually, that is what I want, right? I just want it to be a little bit more explicit than that. Oh, wait, no, you have to keep making a new moment, don't you? No, you don't. I would expect this at some point to say many seconds or something else there. What else do we have here? So M dot to new date in a minute. still want to know about, yeah, this part seems weird. It's less than 45 seconds, oh. Wonder how else I would do this. Like, this isn't super important, but I guess using moment for one single API just seems like overkill to me, but this is also not super important. How can you link a Word document? You can host it on something like Dropbox or OneDrive or iCloud or just anything, I think, and then share it from there. Okay, a few seconds is going to happen for a while, apparently. How else would I do this, though? I guess just compute it myself. And I think I'm fine with that. But what if I do elapsed equals date dot now minus d. Okay, so now I do moment m dot, what does minute do? What? What does this do? That's not what I expected. What does minute do? Where's their API? Here it is. The durations, here we go. Has duration objects, where a moment is defined as single points in time. Durations are defined. Moment dot duration, that's what I want. Moment dot duration elapsed. Now what do we have here? Duration dot aha. So is there just a toString here that I could use? Oops. PT1M49. Wait, so the PT part I don't understand, but the rest of that sounds pretty reasonable. 1 minute 49 seconds. Is there a better way to print this out? Humanize. Aha! Perfect! We did it! Okay, so that's all I want then. So let's go do that. So let's get rid of this library. Completely redo this. npm uninstall dash save stir f time, and then npm install dash save moment as package.json. Get rid of that. Good. And then let's just make use of it. So we go back into here. We say time elapsed. So we're going to require moment. Const moment equals require moment. Elapsed time. String equals moment dot duration date dot now minus this dot time started dot humanize. Okay. Let's try that. Ever use Docker? Yeah, I have, but not extensively. I just tried it out. I tried it out on stream too. I don't like this. I don't like the a few seconds. I want to change that. Oh, interesting. The same shorthand for moment.add and subtract works. How do I make this print out better? A minute, 2 minutes a day. Yeah. Dot seconds. Yep, that's what I want. Forget all of this stuff. Spend many hours to understand Ajax, so I think that someone in the future can save time. Did you? I mean, this could have just been an image, Olo. I'm not showing that on screen, by the way. People will have to click that in chat. But wow, I thought this was real. Okay, so let's go back into here. So if we go into duration.minutes, aha, there we have it. That's all I wanted. And there's probably a format here too, right? Format. duration dot days, weeks, months, year, add time as unit time, get unit time as JSON, is duration. Yeah, I'll just do things this way, I think. We'll do time elapsed. So const moment duration, or time elapsed duration. So I'll get this. Hey, Mr. Banks. Okay. So let's get the elapsed time string equals this time elapsed duration dot hours h time elapsed duration dot minutes. Probably want some days in there too, right? Pretty much just want to keep copy pasting this. Days, hours, minutes, seconds. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. Okay, so this will be days, hours, minutes, seconds. All right, let's try that out. Hopefully that works. What are you doing? Why don't you use moments stir of time? But that's a new node module. I don't want that. When I can just do this. Print out time in the most ridiculous way possible. I deserve it? What's this? Okay, so this, yeah. You should probably do most of your AJAX requests with a library. Wait. Never mind, I don't know what this was. Sorry, I thought Olo linked to this. Digital crosshair. Alright, we're eventually going to hit 1 minute. There we go. Okay, so wait, is stir of time something that they have by default, or do you have to install something else for it? Because I thought I saw that was, yeah, this. More comfortable working with stir of time instead of that. Use moment. Did I even read your message? Yeah, I did. It's built into moment. I didn't see that message that it was built into moment. You said moment stir of time. Displaying. No, this makes sense, but this is for a moment, not for a duration, right? Do durations have these? Duration dot format. Yeah, there's no format on a duration. Right? I didn't see a function for that here. Or am I missing it? What if I said as hours? Oh, no, I don't want that. Yeah, I don't think that's a thing you can do. Yeah, I don't think so. You can do it with anything. What? What? Moment dot duration. This returns dot format? Format is not a function. No, you can't. Unless you have an old version of this where that was possible, and they moved it into a... Where did the thing about duration go? Yeah, here it is. Special format. I don't know who's trolling who at this point. I think I'm the one being trolled, but I'm not positive. Moment dot duration. I take the duration that I had, or moment dot format duration. Moment dot format's not even a function. All right, I give up. Whatever. This works and it's totally fine. It's a little unwieldy, but other than that, it's fine. We'll just put this here. Wait, oops, I did that wrong. Perfect. Hey Froxy. So let's run a giveaway. Can you super briefly tell me the flow of the Bash and Node.js site? What? I don't believe you. No, this doesn't work. What version of Moment are you using? Yeah, moment duration format. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Hey, Hyanar. Easy win. Okay, so Kong Simon, the flow of Bash in Node.js. So first, my question to you, so that I'm answering. Oh, did I redefine moment? Is that what happened? No, moment still refers to the library, right? I could just test this. Moment equals require moment. Yeah, they're the same. So Kong Simon, are you on Windows or are you on Unix, Linux? What are you using? Because depending on what you are using, I'll just answer it for that. Because, well, you could use Bash on Windows, but I'll just make sure I'm answering your question correctly. Although both of those work for me. Yeah, but what version are you using? Because this definitely doesn't work for me. And Kong Simon says Windows. Okay, so I will guide you to a website called SS64, and you'll want to go into, well, you can go into, oh, and OS X. Okay, well, either way, this site has everything. It has CMD, Bash, whatever else. And yeah, Mike, no, I could use that. I'm not really super concerned. Like, what is EJ about to say? Oh, we wrote a custom plugin for this. Oh, you're using moment duration format, the polyfill, aren't you? Okay. Yeah. Great. I'm gonna give you 0.2, Mike. Modularized. All right. So Kong Simon, in general, let's say I'm using Bash. So I'll go to desktop del. What are you gonna do? Bash test, cd bash test, and then I load up some thing here, test.shell. Okay, so that doesn't work. Why did that not work? That's really weird. What's going on right now? Do I need backslashes? Oh, I haven't saved it yet. Oh, that's why. Yeah. And that doesn't even make any sense, but fine. And then /test.sh. Okay, great. So the basics of Bash or Batch or anything, any shell scripting language, is it's as though you're typing commands in directly into your console. It's not exactly true, but it's as though you're doing that. So in this case, I can use an echo command from this script and then run the script and it'll run it here. So when I run my node thing, really what I'm doing is just some commands that I would do from the console. I do a cd into whatever directory that I have, and then I can just run node here, node sort of main.js. And I can pass in whatever arguments, whatever args I want. So that's all you need to do, Kong Simon, is just make a script. And what I've written out here, other than, you have to fill these in, of course, but what I've written out here would work in either Bash or in Batch. The languages differ after that, of course, but echo and cd are the same. Munchawak, that sounds like a commercial, but I have not seen whatever commercial you're referring to. And EnvisionNet, thanks for following. Okie doke. So back to this. This is working just fine, right? 8 minutes. Yeah, chugging along. Let's make sure that all of these things exist. So we had a duration over here. And let's just call it time elapsed duration. Time elapsed duration equals duration. Unescaped template literal. I probably need to just join these lines and then get rid of these. Okay, and let's just console.log that. Great, so now I wanted to test with a duration that is time elapsed duration, something that is more than that. So is there an add? There's a subtract. There's add, yeah. Add new date. Does that work? Now can I do this? No, that didn't work. I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. Maybe 10 minutes? Aha, that works. So what if we add 10 hours? I just want to make sure this all looks good. Yep. And then what if we add 10 days? Perfect. And out of curiosity, what happens if we add 15 more hours? Perfect. Great. It's all working. YHYS, thank you for following. How do you want me to pronounce your name, YHYS? Because I don't know if you want me to say all 4 letters out like that every time. Just watch Twitch's food channel and you'll eventually find out. What are you using Ansible for? I see you found the Ansible command. I'm using Ansible to deploy some endpoints in the infrastructure. So if you've watched the stream before, you've seen me do this stuff. Of course, 10 weeks will not work. It should, right? Yeah, that's fine. Although that's a good question of how that works. Because after adding a certain number of the... Wait, no, that didn't work. You're right. But anyway, if the matchmaker's running for that long... I don't know. Fine. It'll loop back around after... Yeah, you're right. Okay, anyway, to answer your question, Zans, so I use Ansible in order to deploy all of these individual endpoints in the cloud somewhere, except for the database. Use as days and round it. Yeah, but then I need to subtract. No, I need to truncate it, not round it, right? Yeah, I need to truncate it. Math.floor as days. There we go. Alright, so let's try that out. Console.log. Yeah, that works. Okay. It's usually, guys, when sometimes I see this code of chaos, I want to tell Adam to open the front door. Used for config management. Interesting. I mean, I guess you could use it for almost anything you want. It's just a task runner. So if you can type something into your console, then Ansible could do it. But I think it's mostly used for deployments. Although depending on what you consider to be config management, that might fall under the realm of deployment. Anyway, at this point, I've gotten very far off of what I was doing. So this is working. It ran for 12 minutes and did not encounter the errors that it encountered before. I mean, I think that's good for right now. And at the very least, it may not be bug-free, but it's good enough to check in, I think. So I'll just lint the code now. Hey, Blade, how's it going? Wait a second. Weren't you here like a really long time ago? No, that's not you. There's someone else with a similar name, but this is like last year that I'm thinking of. Was something with a playbook I remember? Ansible uses playbooks, yeah. Oh, Blade, I remember you from like last year. You created your account only 2 months ago. Did you have a different name? No, something's not adding up here. Dude, it's me, the guy from a long time ago. Also, is my bot offline? What's going on there? It got the time command, but it didn't print the time. What? Oh, you made a new account. So wait, is... Ah, I see. Okay, so the channel doesn't recognize you yet. But okay, cool. Yeah, I thought I recognized you. So wait, why'd you make a new account? Especially if your account is similar enough to your old one where... Oh, you were the guy who played Minecraft, right? Let me take a look. Yeah. I remember you. Well, welcome back. Okay. So, 2 linting errors. This is defined but never used. I can't control click this. It's actually because of where it's running from. No, the old... Here, I can find this. Because I would have this information if this is from browse data, time. Where is it? Was Blade in the name? Oops. I know alphabetical order. Blade Soul, Blade Digger. That's what it was. It was Blade Digger. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, even that didn't work. I don't know. Whatever. Although, I don't know why Botland Bot isn't responding to me. Strange. Okay. Well, let's fix these linting errors. So relevant list is never used. Yep. And potential players is not defined. Hang on, I gotta fix this. Line 156 here. Yeah, potential players isn't defined. It's only up here. I'm not sure if I want to keep this around. I think I do. Yeah, it's... See, this is block scoped. I need to make it appear somewhere else. Yeah, okay. So let potential players equals null. Does that make sense? So, no, I don't like this. This is only defined here so that we can handle a relatively obscure edge case by logging what this is equal to. We need it outside of the scope of where it's intended to live. Guys, check this out. I'm sure this is funnier with sound. So I'll watch it later. Do I get push notifications from Twitter? I don't think so. Do you ever check mentions? If they show up in the notifications, then yeah. Are these the push notifications you're talking about? This was 5 hours ago. 9:54 a.m. That's weird. Oh, is this what you're talking about? Mike913/Twitch? I wrote this on my to-do list to read the notifications. Yeah, require sound. Okay. I'll watch it later then. Okay, let me go turn on a fan. Okay, so I don't like how I'm doing this now. Potential players is saved here. I could get rid of this and then it'll exist and everything will be fine. It just looks strange. Keyboard is curved? Yeah, it is. I'm not sure, Mike. I probably would see it. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned me on Twitter before. Granted, I didn't have a Twitter account before the business. Alright, this is finally ready to check in. Let's take a look. So we make a new matchmaking queue. It shouldn't do anything. If I run this code, it'll just sit there. Forever and ever and ever. Oh, see you, Zans. Okay, so that's done. This is fine. This is not needed. And then these two things, which I just need to make sure have been commented correctly and everything. So let's just take a quick look. Yep, class represents the players in the matchmaking queue. Sure. Yep, and the rest of that looks fine. Cool. And then this, which I have gone over multiple times with a fine-tooth comb. I think this is the only thing I really need to matchmaker state. I could write that this is a number. The elapsed time and everything worked, yeah. Is the browser-based game put up for the followers to test yet? Yeah. To get access to botland, type wbotland bot game. Well, Mike, you can't just link that because while this is the URL and this should load for everybody, you don't necessarily have account information until you whisper the bot. But right now it's free to get access, so you might as well just type out the command even if you don't plan on playing. Eventually I'll revoke access in about a month and a half, maybe. Yeah. Alright, let's check this in. So added the match making algorithm that I prototyped for this. There are some relatively large changes. No, not large changes. There are some changes that I made. Changes worth noting. I cleaned up all of the code that looked questionable. I switched from using a heap to using a sorted array. That way I didn't have to do hacks to enumerate everything in the heap. I remember I offered the idea to upload 32 by 32 image. Yeah, and people have said things like that before. I don't think that's going to happen. One of the things that you haven't seen yet, unless you've been watching the broadcast, is this tool. How do I get to this? Darn it. I can't show you this unless I know what I can do. art.bot.land. Let me take a look off screen for a sec. Yeah, so I made this tool. These are what bots are eventually going to look like. So right now, for comparison, you can see that they look like this graphic. So they were blanket shaded with just a tint, which looks kind of ugly on that art because it wasn't meant to be used that way. Whereas these are shaded based on color masks, so they look much nicer when you change the color of them. And you can combine them in any way you want. So you can use different heads with different bodies, with different feet. I only have 2 different heads, bodies, and legs for all of these things. So, and I screwed up the art. So just ignore the shading totally missing from that. It shouldn't be transparent. But yeah. So we're probably not going to allow people to customize skins because you'll just have tons of these things. And the customizations you can make are going to be color. But even that, I'm not sure what capacity you'll be able to modify these in. But it should be interesting. Alright, so we can close out of that stuff. This is now... Let me see. Add a matchmaking algorithm that are prototyped. There's some changes worth noting. That and that. Yes. So this algorithm doesn't actually run unless people are added to the queue. So this code is relatively dormant right now. There are some changes from the prototype that are worth noting. And then this should probably be written here. Yeah. How do you whisper Botland bot? You literally just type in what I said. And I don't mean that in like a mean way. Just copy paste what I said into Twitch chat and hit enter. Just make sure you don't put the quotation marks. What is this? You're a UI design master? I mean, the only thing I see missing from here is some way to close this dialogue that isn't the X. There should probably be an OK button or something, right? Weird. He's thinking commit messages are marked down. You take snark to a whole new level. You know, people were asking me, because I gave that speech today, and I said, oh yeah, people have offered to help in practically every aspect of the project, and it's been great. And then after the speech, I was talking to a couple of people, and I said, you know, there are some jerks on stream too. I wasn't talking about you guys who are here but now, but I have said that there are people who really do, like the whole, why do you use Windows? Why are you using Bing? Like, why do I have to justify myself to everybody? But I do, and I have commands for it. So we're going to get rid of this stuff. All right, there. So the thing I forgot to do, which I probably shouldn't have checked that in, but that's done. Rename wait times and wait times list. I don't even think these exist any longer. Nope. Yep, I removed it. So that's kind of, well, it's done, I guess. Insert into heap by skill. Yeah, this is the only other thing I want to fix. Inserts a player into a particular list. I don't know, it's whatever's in player by skill. Player.splice sort of next 0. Wait, how does this work? What? Yeah, how does this work? These are... Okay, this is actually pretty interesting. This is something I never accounted for. Yeah, I never accounted for this. Was I mentioned in this speech? No, I didn't mention individual people in this speech. Oh, there's an ESC button on the device. Oh, yeah, okay. Aw, look at this really nice message by Spurtman. Isn't that nice? I mean, he's referring to the actually nice message by EJ. Alright, so there's players by skill. So insert into heap by skill. I don't know what to call this. I guess I'll just say insert by skill. Inserts a player into a particular list specified by their skill, by a skill level. No, that's... You're doing a great job is now what I mean. You seem confident. Why are you doing a great job? Reason we specify a skill level so that we can later add this player to their flex heaps, flex lists, without having to do any redundant work. Alright, so that's fine. Now this, does this code even work? player array, players by skill, sorted index by player array, player, join time. Maybe. All right. So if we just print stuff out, we should basically know if this works. But I did these two to-do items. So let's just try this out. Actually, did the code even change? Did I change the code? What? What? That's not possible. Diff current file? No output? No. No, sir, you are wrong. Uh-oh. Oh, darn it. I didn't check this in. I don't think I changed the code. I'm just going to hit Control Y a bunch of times. And we're going to test this out again. Okay, next time. Don't forget to commit. Actually, the way you can find out if this is working is just to see, are all these numbers in order? If they're in order, then it's fine. Yep, I think so. And the reason why is because they're generated in order of increasing numbers. So the oldest one will always be the lowest number. So that means that the lowest number should always show first. And that is currently the case. So I'm pretty sure it's working. Now let's check that in. Okay, and push the code. I don't want to lose this. Oh, all right. So done. Done with step number 1. Hooray. Make a fake client flow for now. The matchmaker exposes an API that the account server is supposed to hit that says player ID 405 wants to join the queue. The account server exposes this API and then passes the skill level to the matchmaker along with any other pertinent information. Now, the question I would have here is, why does the account server have to do this? And I guess the answer is, we don't trust players. Yeah, and load balancing. Load balancing is actually the real answer. The reason why the account server has to act as a proxy is for load balancing, and also because we don't trust users to be able to contact the matchmaker directly. Never trust anything. That's Pickle's life advice right there. Don't trust anyone. So make a fake client flow for now. So what I really need to do here is make the account server expose an API to users, directly to users, that lets them queue. This should take the user's token. And then make the matchmaker expose an API only to account servers. Also, modifying security groups at this is gonna be a thing. Make the matchmaker expose an API only to account servers that adds that user to the queue. The API takes a token, and then make the account server contact the matchmaker. It needs to specify ID player, so ID and skill level. Adam just said, don't trust my family. Shouldn't you not trust me? In which case you probably should trust your family. Yeah, never trust the client. And if the client is your family, then never trust your family. No, you're mincing my words. Player ID 405 wants to join the queue. Exposes API, passes information. Yep. So make a fake client for now, and then put this all into Postman. Alright, so we're going to be modifying a lot of stuff, huh? Well, no better time than the present. Let's go into Botland. Let's close out of this. This isn't needed. Let's go into here. Close out of this stuff. Probably keep that around. So we go into central server, rest server. That doesn't even exist. What did I call it? Oh, I called it server. Okay. So there needs to be an API. Let's close out of these things, I think. Yeah, let's close out of these. Make the account server expose an API directly to users, let some queue. So let's do post/q. Post/mm. I just press function lock? Yes. I think Q is fine. Or MMQ. Yeah, I think that's good. Let's do that. So we go into here. We set up our routes. We have the concept of external routes. This is another external route. And how are we going to design this? Takes in a token. Okay. Adam, are you on a healthy diet or workout? You're totally energetic. I had a lot of pizza today. I think that answers all of your questions. I don't know if I'm on a healthy diet, but I work out about 3 times a week. Yeah. I don't... If I had to rate my diet on a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 was the healthiest, and 1 was like stuffed Oreos in toothpaste, it's probably a 6. Yeah. The pizza today was because that's what they had at the meeting. But it's not terrible. Alright, so this is a get route. I want a post route. I want to become a paper boy. Alright, let's see how any of this other stuff works. So when we say create bot bay, for example, we pass in a header of BL token. So this is very similar to what I want to do. Bays, yeah, this. Let's do that. So we're going to post to MMQ. Moose says, I'm a 1. What do you eat in order to make it a 1? Like, is there any green in your diet? Okay, verify token middleware. So that's good. Extract this. Nope. Extract this. Actually, maybe. An authorized token. What does this do? Middleware to make sure that the token that was stored in your request is valid for the user ID that was stored in your request. This means you can have either a normal or a super token. Hey, Programmer D. Welcome to Spamsville. I stuff Oreo in toothpaste. Okay. No, but I mean, that alone is not enough to push your diet into one territory. You'd have to be doing that to the exclusion of everything else. The only thing I'm worried about right now is if I ever want to manually add a player to the queue, I couldn't do that. I think that's fine. Whatever token you pass in, you'll be adding them to the queue. I don't think this needs to exist then, or does it? Where does this extract the user ID from? Store the user ID in the request. The user ID is taken from rec.params. So middleware to take the user ID from rec.params and store it in the request. That's a much better way of writing this, I think. So I don't want that either. I don't think I want that. And ensure user account is valid. What is the point of this? This middleware will check to see if a user's account is valid. In order to do this, it needs to fetch is valid from the database, which means that this should not just be added to all routes, but rather only the routes that don't already fetch the user. Furthermore, I'm adding this to routes that have some interplay with real-life money. Okay. That's a pretty good comment. I think this just convinced me to not do this. Yeah. Okay, let's cut that out too then. So all we want to do is verify the token. And then we want to call Q, what do I want to say here? Q user into matchmaker. Add user to MMQ. Right? Yeah, let's do that. I think that's pretty obvious what this is doing. Add user to matchmaking queue. Okay, cool. So this is just MMQ. Nice. There's note to self-op. That just reminded me, in my JavaScript class, we're learning about this, and no one knows what's going on anymore because he still hasn't talked about object-oriented programming. Ooh. Ooh. This is actually relatively confusing in JavaScript. And by this, I mean this. And by this, I mean the this keyword. That wasn't confusing enough. All right, so add user to matchmaking queue. Let's go to create bot bay and see what it is I'm doing here. So I'm getting the user ID from that. I haven't touched this code in months. What areas of computer science interest you, Adam, besides game programming? Well, so the nice thing about game programming is you really get a little bit of everything in here. There's networking, there's graphics, there's AI. There's a whole bunch of other parts of computer science that I don't feel like listing off. So I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure how to answer that. All right, let me think about this. So this doesn't need to, we need the payload of this. We need the payload of this. Yeah. Okay, so MMQ calls in a verify token middleware, which I believe extracts the payload out of this token. Wrap verify token that will save the token's payload into the request. This does not do any authorization. Okay. So that's exactly what I need. User ID equals. Now, we need the token payload, and we need to get the user ID out of it. This is how we do that. But then how do we do... Aha, here. Extract user ID from token. There are some routes where you don't have to explicitly pass in a user ID. For example, buying an item. For routes like this, a normal token is passed in, and the token itself contains a user ID, indicating which user is relevant for the route. This middleware simply pulls it into there. Note, by doing this, you don't really need to authorize users because for them to have passed a valid token means that it was signed correctly. Excellent! A++ level comments. So what we really want is to put this right here. And then we're done. I think. Right? Are we? Yeah. Nice. Okay. So now we can get it by doing... We don't even need this because we store it inside here. Perfect. Perfect. So we just change this to get and done. What up? All right, nice. So now I have the user ID. And all I want to do is pass this information over to the matchmaker. Here's where things get a little bit more challenging. And this is where I did not think ahead. That's too bad. Pass following information. Have you ever considered doing a bind at the class level rather than doing it everywhere in your code? So I hadn't considered that, but where is that code? Here. Yeah, I hadn't considered that, but I don't see it as a big issue because this is going to get passed in once, and this thing, set up external routes, is only called at startup time. So it's not a big deal, I think. Adam, have you made scripts that have automated parts of your life other than Twitch bots? So I I spent a lot of time working on the light system that I have so that I can do things like this. It doesn't even work. Way to make a fool out of me, browser. Okay, this is running on a Raspberry Pi, and this has been very unreliable. Oh, wait, no, I'm not in the bedroom. Oh. Alright, I just blamed a computer for the worst thing. I hope my wife's not wondering why the lights went off. Yeah, so kind of, sort of digital crosshair. There, okay, to be fair, there's a bed in this room. We just happen to refer to it as the office. So I'm not completely daft here. Someone is tired. I'm not actually that tired, too. Hey, Wheatley. Okay, well, let's put this back here. This needs to be fleshed out, but first I need to write down over here. So the account server needs a REST client for the matchmaker. It doesn't currently have one. Whoa, that was a mistake. Just formatted my entire to-do list. What was that? Alright, whatever. Ignore that. Hey, Con1, thank you for following. Adam has to sleep alone in the office. u/Wesherman. Oh boy. Alright, I need to go get water. I'm dying over here. I'll be right back. Oh, I was talking to myself that whole time. Whoops. Ha ha ha. Well, I'm not answering your question the second time, in case. Alright. No, that wasn't an Adam troll. That was Adam being less than smart. Alright. Well, I don't know. Okay. So this is done. Also, let's intersperse this stuff into Postman, or putting this stuff into Postman. I said that entire sentence wrong. I'm not going to repeat myself. Just whatever I said, that's what I said. So in order for this to work, we need to pull their skill information, their user ID from... That's not even true. No, we don't. No, that's not how this works. All right, there's something else I got to consider here, which is that if they already exist in there, if they, do this somewhere else. If posting to /mmq says, posting MMQ should queue route should have the AS contact the MM to figure out if the user is already queued. No answer to your question? What did Mike ask? Adam, can you make the make it rain command available to everyone? Oh yeah, so no, because it's broken. I would need to fix it. That's why I was running it with giving points to Wheatley. Okay, so I'll answer your question again. In general, a Raspberry Pi is not a computer you'd probably be interfacing with directly like you would a real computer. So you're not going to use it for gaming. You're probably not even going to do web browsing on it too much. I'd see it mostly as you'd use a Raspberry Pi where you don't want a graphical user interface. And even that is just in general. So if you're running a web server, if you're running a media server, those sorts of things. You heard points in Wheatley. What did you miss? You won 2 points. I was proving that the make it rain command is broken. All right, so expose this. This should take the user's token. I mean, I guess this is done. It doesn't do anything yet, but done. Okay, great. So make the matchmaker expose an API only to account servers that adds that user to the queue. Okay, so let's go do that part. So matchmaker should have a REST server. It does. That's excellent. And there's the /q command. Wow. It exists. So I guess let's say mmq, just to make things explicit. And this currently calls add user to mmq. However, this doesn't do anything. It says just a stub function. Adds a user to the matchmaking queue if they're not already in it. Maybe everyone did get 1 point and it just printed the wrong message. Oh man, ice water is the best. Just a stub function for now. Alright, so then in the to-do list where I said posting the account server's queue route should have it contact the MMQ. So this is kind of wrong. It's really the AS is just the middleman for the matchmaker. So the grunt work should go into the matchmaker's REST server. Okay. Make the matchmaker expose an API to account servers. Okay, so that's in here. This is already technically done. In fact, if I call this right now, let's try this out. So if I run this, this is running on port 8081, and I just do curl. Wait, do I have curl? Yeah, curl HTTP localhost 8081. That's wrong. It's /mmq. Git is not allowed. Perfect, because it should be a post. And now it returns 200, although it doesn't say it returns 200, which is probably why we should use this. Just make a new tab, go to HTTP localhost 8081 mmq, and we post to it. Send, and there we go, 200. Okay, well, both of those things are done. They're just not functional yet. So we need to come up with a format for this. Points are pretty useless, yeah. For right now, at least, they're pretty useless. All right, let me think about this. So essential server, we need to send skill level and user ID to the matchmaker. We don't have skill level. That doesn't exist in the database anywhere. What do we have? token, name. We don't even have number of wins. We have the number of logins. We actually could use that as skill level at first. The more you log in, presumably the more you played the game. You can't buy light tokens. Oh, fine, Wheatley. God, I can't believe I'm doing this. This charade. This is like if you looked over to someone expectantly and said, it's like we're finishing each other's. So there, Wheatley. Are you happy? Nobody do that. Alright. So yeah, we don't have skill level. I think we should fake that for now. Although eventually there was going to be a database call for that. Const skill level equals 1. So to do eventually figure out how this will be computed. No, that's wrong. Eventually we should pull some basic statistics from the database, e.g. win ratio, and pass that to the matchmaker so that it can figure out what skill level means. For now, we'll just send the same number every time because it doesn't exist yet. So now we need to send both of these over, but we don't have we don't have a matchmaker REST client, which we're going to need. All right, I guess I got to code that next. The account server contact the matchmaker. Yeah, these are all the same to-do item. So fine, this is the next step here. Okay, well, it already has one. Central server. What am I doing? Let's just look at it this way. So source, overseer REST client. Let's see what's in here. Extends from that. That's good. AWS instance ID. This is only in the case that so we don't need that. Local REST server port. We will probably need that. Yeah, and even that's questionable. We have matchmaker state, right? What am I doing? Matchmaker state. Yeah, we have matchmaker state. We don't have central server state, though. Central server main doesn't do that. Ensure mvars are set. Yeah, it sets all these into some nonsense object. That's probably something I should fix. Change. Where do I write this? I'll write this up here. Change the account server so that it creates an env or state object, just like everything else does. That way I can shift that code out of main.js. I've never seen more to-do list nodes in my life either. Oops, sorry. The paper towel around the water is covering my keyboard. I don't typically have a to-do list that's this long for a project. But there's a lot of stuff to do for Botland, huh? Okay, so as for the REST client, I think that this should be really easy. We just do this. Matchmaker REST client.js. Done. Then we take this, we just write matchmaker here, and the rest of this is fine. What's endpoint types used for? Not needed. And this isn't needed. And that means we can get rid of it from here. And these change to matchmaker host and matchmaker port. Now, does the word overseer show up anywhere else? Yes, it does. So we're going to get rid of that. And even from there, matchmaker. Make me a match. Find me a find. Done. Okay, so now we go into central server main.js, and where I'm making an overseer REST client, we got to copy this. Done, and then we got to set that up. Now this only needs to be set up in the case that we want matchmaking to work. So we got to add an environment variable. Then we got to modify Ansible. Are you going to implement an ELO division system like in League of Legends, or is matchmaking going to be based on MMR solely? So how about I do this? Add com. Actually, is matchmaking already a thing? No. So I'm going to do this. Add com matchmaking. As of J 4 2016. Adam doesn't know how matchmaking is going to work, i.e. whether it's MMR, ELO, win ratio, etc. Yeah. So now we can do alias com matchmaking. How does this work? Can I do something like that? Ah, that's what I thought. So ELO, MMR, yeah, there. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about this briefly. We didn't come to a conclusion yet. I'm not sure what we're going to do because the way you go about answering how is matchmaking going to work, and really the way you go about answering any game design question, is what are our goals with it? And I think our goals are to encourage people to have fun, and ranking can help with that because you want to have a goal and progressing in the game feels good. And also give you some kind of reward probably. And then we had a third thing that we talked about. I don't remember what that was. But we just want to do it in a thoughtful manner because I think this is something that causes a lot of uproar in other games when the matchmaking or the ranking is done in a subpar way. Or even when it's changed, even if it gets better. I think people don't like change in general. Alright, so set up Overseer REST client. This is only done if connect to Overseer is true. So let me think about this. If you're connecting to the Overseer, do we assume that there's a matchmaker? At what point do I want to... You could add daily bonus, daily quest. Yeah, and we talked about something like that too. You'll have a very basic means of getting botcoin in the game when the game comes out. And I might as well share that. I guess it's not a big secret or anything. What we're probably going to do is something like this. The first game that you win in a given day is going to be like plus X botcoin. I don't know how much. And then the second game that you win is going to be like plus 0.4X botcoin. And then the third game that you win is going to be no change in botcoin. So imagine if the numbers are 100, then here you'd be getting like 40 or maybe, I don't know, 50, something like that. Just whatever. This is just illustrative. It's not prescriptive. If you had a 50% win ratio, what this means is, so botland games are 15 minutes long. So if you had a 50% win ratio, this means that you'd be taking 60 minutes, an hour, to get all of the rewards you get for a day. I think that's pretty reasonable. I think that's like casual game territory. If you continued to play, we might end up doing something where, yeah, third game, fourth game, fifth game, or something along those lines, but maybe not at first. And this is part of the whole, if you give rewards beyond the reasonable amount of time of doing something, then people will want to bot your game in a way that you don't want them to bot. So I know a game named Botland that is around automation. You might think, but why is botting bad? And botting is bad because it cuts the player out of the situation. This is still a game, and despite that it's a game centered on automation, we want the players controlling their strategies and for them to be present and interacting with the game. If you cut that element out, then I think it becomes less fun for other players. Because now all of a sudden you can't tell your ally, hey, I want you to really use missiles at this point instead of Inferno Zapper. Like, it'd be better in this situation. A bot is not going to read chat and then adjust to the strategy accordingly. So anyway, that's why we planned it kind of the way we did right now. And all that's subject to change. So let me think about this. So account servers don't have to connect to the overseer unless specified. Becomes a bot MMO simulator. It's something along those lines. I mean, if you think about most games today, a computer could probably play it better than most humans could. So in an FPS, a computer could play perfectly. Now, you'd never miss. There's no reason why a computer couldn't do that. But that would take all the fun out of the game, right? So I think in most games, at some level, botting would ruin it. So account servers don't have to connect to the overseer unless specified. Should account servers always connect to a matchmaker if they're connecting to an overseer? No, I think this should be specifiable as well. Well, an FPS is just one of the cases where that's, like, FPS is all about accuracy and reaction time. So a computer can obviously do that way better. But I guess games around strategy, you probably could make it so that an AI could not beat a human without like an 800 CPU machine. Hey Norm, what are we working on today? I think this is accurate. Working on getting the matchmaker set up. Yeah, that's it. Is there going to be a report system for tattling on cheaters? It's just going to be email at first, I think. Remember, everything that I spend time working on, like a report system, is taking time away from something else at this point because I'm the only programmer. So if we had a team of people, then yeah, there might be the resources to do that, but there isn't right now. Okay. So I think the answer to this is no. There should be a switch for that too. So then part of what I'm wondering about is, should game servers be able to work without a matchmaker? And I think the answer is yes. And I really, really think it's important to write that down right now before I forget. I should wait until the overseer. I'm just asking. Yep, good. Contact that. Game servers need to have a way of running such that they don't rely on a matchmaker. This is the large game scenario of how Botland was for the first 7 months of development. But it makes testing much easier. Oh wow, Gramanja, I actually didn't know that. Wow, that's impressive. Wait, what? Spurman, you're really in a business related? Engineering, business, and management faculty. Huh, neat. There should be a game where players are allowed to cheat. But that's the thing, right? That's a paradox. Because if you say they're allowed to cheat, what if they found, like, I mean, where does it end? What if they show up at your house with a gun and they say, all right, give me control over the game. I'm going to implement rules. And that's technically cheating at the game, right? But that's probably not what you meant. And so there's even cheating beyond cheating. And that's why I say, like, this is a game about botting, and yet I'm not going to allow people to bot at a sort of meta level. Kind of weird, right? Okay, so getting back to this, I need another switch, which means I need to make connect to matchmaker a variable in Ansible as well. Did it work well, Pickle? Because I know there was an AI contest for StarCraft a while ago. So here we have connect to overseer equals false. So I guess we're also going to say connect to matchmaker equals false. Then things get difficult because we have connect to overseer, which is here, and then all of this stuff. We want these same things over here, I guess. But now instead of overseer, this changes to connect to matchmaker. Then this stuff changes into matchmaker rest port. No, rest host. And then matchmaker. Why am I even typing all this out? Let me just change the one word in here, matchmaker. Now, does overseer appear here at all? Aha! It does. Okay, so that's good. Now I need to save these things off. Let's save them in this order. So the word overseer needs to change in all of these instances. The casing is just different. There. EJ. Oh, my JWT passphrase is bots, not bot. And what was funny, if you guys have played StarCraft before, so if you look at StarCraft, like minerals and geyser, almost every, I'm going to go over this pretty quickly. Almost every game of StarCraft starts looking something like this. You have your main base, you have some minerals, and you have Vespene gas here. Well, this is something that you don't typically get right away. So back in the AI competition, there was apparently an AI that would go to the enemy's base and take their gas, and then that AI would be effectively shut down because it didn't know what to do because it just expected that this would always be available when it went to use it. So that was a really interesting thing I read about. I just think that stuff is cool, and that's part of the reason. That's why I think Botland is really cool. How is this funny? It's funny because if you're talking about real gambling, that's practically impossible for me to do. I think the laws around that are just nuts. They're crazy. And I don't think I'd ever be able to do it. If you're talking about like betting Botcoin, yeah, that's definitely feasible. But that's also somewhat farther from the direction of the game. So we had to figure that out eventually. Okay, so connect to matchmaker, and then we have these things. Are these used anywhere else? Set up overseer rest client. That's all good. And then what about this? So that's good. Okay, so then we just need to copy paste that function basically. And we should be mostly fine. Hey, Tom Servo. Oh, that was the same bot that evolved into it? Interesting. No, not. Okay, so I wasn't being cheeky there. I said Botcoin gambling. Botcoin is not a human traded currency. It's the in-game currency for Botland. So I was saying if you wanted to gamble with that money, that's totally different. That probably doesn't have laws around it. I imagine it doesn't, right? If there was some sort of gambling in World of Warcraft with gold, would that be illegal? I don't know how strict the laws are on that stuff. I know for sure gambling with real life money in America at least is like prohibitively difficult online. Laws wise for setting it up. Like, so there's going to be set up matchmaker rest client. Sets up the matchmaker rest client is necessary. Let me change this everywhere. Okay. So where else do I have? Yeah, all of this needs to change. Good. Attempting to register with the matchmaker at this point. Register with overseer. That doesn't need to happen. In fact, we should probably test the connection to this. If there's nothing to convert your fake money back into real money, it's fine. Okay, yeah. I said. Okay, so I just need to fix these. Matchmaker. Alright, so we got to do this too. And this should really test the connection to the matchmaker. Now this is where things get iffy. How should an account server start up that was told to connect to the matchmaker? A, should it wait for the matchmaker to be available? Or B, should it just proceed as though the matchmaker is available? I think I'm leaning toward A. But what happens if the matchmaker also depends on the account server? Because I'm not sure what I want to do here. You can let people purchase Botcoin, let them gamble with it, and let them use it to purchase other items in the game that would cost money. Yeah. So that's, if anything were going to happen, that's what would have to happen. But that's if we wanted to go any sort of gambling route, which I think in order to have gambling in the game, you need spectating in the game, which is a very, it's high up on my priority list, but it's not so high that it's going to make it into the release of the game. Because in order to have spectating, you typically need social features. So it's this kind of chain where you need social features in order to have spectating, in order to have gambling. This is not on my priority list, really. This is pretty high up, and this is pretty high up. But I don't think any of them will be in a release. Alright, so I think this should just proceed as though it's available. And if anything fails, then it'll just say connection refused or something. You can gamble with Swiss bank account numbers. Yeah. Alright, so matchmaker REST client. That's over here. And currently all we have is this. This needs to be gone. And that means this needs to be gone. Okay, not bad. So then the only other thing I have to do here is this. Okay. Gold is a legal currency. Really? Okay. Well, World of Warcraft gold isn't. Checkmate. So this isn't even asynchronous, right? We don't, REST client base, shared REST client. What does the constructor do? Nothing. So yeah, this is not even asynchronous. All right. Well, it's fine to just not return anything, but it also kind of makes no sense. I think I'm going to leave this like this. I'll just say note, this is currently synchronous, but it doesn't hurt to return this from a promise, right? I don't think it matters. I'm just giggling to myself over here. Alright, so this is done. Ansible needs this thing to be specified. So I think this works. I really need to test this. And there should be a test connection command. In fact, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this do that. So we have, the matchmaker has a couple of routes right now, health, MMQ, and promote. But because this inherits from REST server base, it should get a 200 response from just slash. So let's connect to that. Test connection. Return this dot request something. I don't remember the rest. what is this doing here? Oh, interesting. Yeah, so let's just copy paste all of that. This turns into slash. This turns into test URL. Sure. We don't need this. We don't need to post. We need to get. We don't need to set anything. And dot then return true, otherwise return false. Test connection to matchmaker. Now, does this violate anything, any expectations here? Do I expect this to throw an error? Just like a URL. Return true, catch, return false. I don't know. What's happening in chat? Yeah, that's what I'm wondering. I'm reading through it right now. This is why I was giggling to myself earlier. Alright, so test connection to matchmaker error. I don't know what I expect from this, but what I do want is for the setup matchmaker thing, I want this to return this dot matchmaker rest client dot. No, I do want this to throw an error. Right. Yeah, I do. Yeah. Throw error. And then this doesn't need to do anything, right? Because there's a test connection. So dot then doesn't have anything. So we just ignore this. Nublarn. Thanks for following. Oh, chat. All right. So we have test connection here. If this fails, I think I'm going to do a dot catch here and just say logger.error connecting to the matchmaker failed, proceeding anyway. And I'll write why I'm doing this here. Note, the reason why we proceed anyway is because the matchmaker may be started later. There's no handshake that needs to happen here. So this is an admissible error. Okay. All right. Now it comes down to testing this. Are you ready, kids? So if I run this, everything should work totally fine. In fact, everything should work more than fine. This should have printed out, but it didn't. Oh, right, I'm not running any of my build commands. Well, nothing was building. I'm gonna go grab some water. Yeah, I'm gonna go grab some water. I'll be right back. Okay. Okie doke. So, did this work? Attempting to register with the overseer. What? What? Run, connect, what? Oh, because the matchmaker pretty much can't run without connecting to the overseer. Oh, what am I even doing? I'm not starting an account server. Okay, let's try this one. What does this say? Oh, this is gonna fail, isn't it? Yeah, I gotta fix that. Okay, so the overseer is currently running on 8080. I gotta write this stuff down. Overseer is on 8080. Matchmaker is on 8081. Account server, let's run on 8082. So let's go to that, 8082. And then let's run that and see what happens. Okay, so connect to matchmaker was not specified, so not creating the matchmaker. How about we specify it? So connect to matchmaker and overseer are true, and then we just specify those values somewhere, and I do those the same way I did them here. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's copy all of those into here, and then set them all equal to this, and then I have to take from here. So overseer is running on 8080, and the matchmaker is running on 8081. Let's try that out. Okay. Connect to matchmaker was specified. Attempting to register with the overseer. Something's wrong. Yeah, that's what's wrong. Okay, let's write this down. So Adam, we need your input. Please settle a dispute. It doesn't sound like there's a dispute. I think Original Pepper might have misunderstood EJ. And it sounds like everyone agrees. And I just have one thing to add to this. I'm going to wait a few seconds before pressing enter on my message. So do you guys have the same suspense that I do? I meant to put a star there. Oh well, whatever. Okay. That's my input. Correcting someone's typo. Alright, so set up matchmaker REST client. At the end of this, we're going to say .then, and we're going to type probably roughly the same thing I typed up here. Successfully register with the overseer. I'll say like successfully connected to the matchmaker. This isn't persistent. It's not. Wow, you got him good. Fruity Game says, "What is this? This is Botland." It's not Boatland. Don't click the Boatland video. Okay, thanks chat. You really got my back there with the unnecessary linking. All right, so successfully connected to the matchmaker. Does the matchmaker know about this? No, nor does it need to. However, now that the connection exists, we should be able to call into this. And by this, I mean this thing. So I'll just write log, oh, we don't have logger, do we? Yes, we do. Logger.info, someone called into this. This is just a stub function though. Am I interrupting something? Should I come back later? Chat's just gone crazy. Amazing. Great, Spurman. All right, so let's try calling this API. I have this. We're going to call add user to MMQ. Let's take a user ID and a skill level. Let's do this. We are going to post by setting some things, and we're going to be happy about it. So Q API URL is /mmq. Good. Extra params we don't need. Set type. No, set user ID is user ID, and set skill level equals skill level. We'll change those around eventually. Versions, is this needed? I don't know. And send the port of the REST server running on this machine so that, no, you don't need that. This isn't a registration call. I think the SEO on Botcoin misspellings will be great. Can you imagine though if someone, like if you search Botcoin right now, what do you get? Yeah, including results for Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So what happens if you explicitly search for Botcoin? There's nothing about Botland on here. What about Google? Botland, no, nothing. Oh well, too bad. Oh, so Programmer D, Spurtman didn't make that album. He just linked the album. That was full of gold though. Troll alert. The add user to queue. So we have this and this. We send the request. If we get a response, we return it. There are various responses we could get. We could either get that they were already in the queue, that they were added to the queue, or that there was an error. How'd the lecture go? It was just a speech. It went really well, actually. I got some good feedback. I think people liked it. It's funny because I mentioned this earlier when I got back from it, but a couple of people expressed interest in watching the stream after that. So I wonder if they're going to do it. I never actually said what the stream is, but the speech was titled, "Hi, I'm Adam13531," and I mentioned Twitch all throughout. So I think they can piece it together, and or maybe they'll just be like, I don't know where to go. And they'll never find me. They'll never hear me saying these things. Oh, hey, Shafili. Hi to you too, and good night to you too. What else did I miss? Okay, good. So yeah, I need to handle 3 different cases here. Either the user already existed in the queue, or the user... Oh, there needs to be an API for getting whether the user is in the queue. So expose an API lets you know if the user is already in the queue. And maybe removed from the queue. Yeah, that needs to happen too, I think. Do you get nervous when talking to large crowds? I think there's always that sense of being a little bit on edge. Yeah. I think the most people I've ever spoken to was in that video I linked earlier. I think there were probably about 150 people there. But today there were only 20 something. Shameless plug for the stream, no. I tried to keep the marketing material down to the absolute minimum, which was like 0. I didn't even talk about the game or the company. Just talked about Twitch. And then I guess that's just that removes a user from the queue. That's going to be a little harder to do. we can only remove a user if they haven't already joined into a game. Also, if you're in a game at the time, you can't add yourself to the queue again. If a player is already in a game, then they shouldn't be allowed to add/remove themselves from the MMQ. Did I make it prominent that I was using AWS, not Azure? What was the speech for and about? This speech was for an open house for a public speaking club, and it was about how I'm using Twitch and how I'm developing on here. So a couple people on the stream have said, hey, can we see the speech somehow? And I said, even if you could, which there's no way now, it's over, there was no recording of it. Even if you could, you'd know everything I talked about. Like, I just mentioned, here's what Twitch is. The general outline was like, what is Twitch? Creative section is on the rise. What else did I say? How I got started. So this was like quitting my job last year. And then the whole accountability and marketing is the major reasons. Then the first day and how there were 400 people who tuned in and 90 followers. Then the next few weeks, and I said like Twitch is interactive, so it's exhausting. And then what did I say? Oh yeah. Then I said I think reasons were realized. And finally I ended with a sort of a tie back into the, included with a connection back to the open house that I was at. So this was the general outline of what I talked about today. And that's why I said, like, you guys know about all of this stuff. The only thing you wouldn't have heard before was this thing, which is not super relevant, actually. Did you have giant poster boards? No, there was no visual component to this presentation. Other than the sweet shirt that I'm wearing. Make the matchmaker expose an API that adds users to the queue. So that's not even this. Sorry, that's this. And even that isn't totally done. Okay, let's try calling this, assuming that this works. This dot add matchmaker user to queue 5, 5, whatever. Wait, this doesn't make any sense, does it? This is the account server. Oh, what am I doing? Where did I type skill level equals 1? Where did I do that? I don't even remember. It was here somewhere. Oh yeah, I know where it is. It was right here in the add to MMQ. Yeah, this. And then we need to send this off. So this needs to be plumbed through the code base. Oh, no, Mike. There were 400 people over the course of the day. It wasn't concurrent viewers. Although concurrent viewers on day 1 was like 100 people or something. Did I start with a joke? Like some humor, not really a joke. I don't like giving you. An open house is just like, imagine a club, you've got about 20 people and you say, we need more people. So you have an open house where not just members can show up, but anyone. So you're opening your house to everybody there. And then you typically do a slightly different club meeting from what you normally do. And by the way, MCS Mike, you can always check that out. I think this is a pretty interesting view into, first of all, this is funny. Average viewers are dropping. But yeah, on day 1, 57 average viewers. That's not actually that accurate because it's averaged over 200 hours. And yeah, then it's just slow decline right up until the first 4 months. Then it started raising again. Now it's going down. But this, I don't know what caused this to happen. Like the slope definitely changed from here to here. to here to here. Like doubled in slope. Also, wow. It actually tells me where I rank. I'm the 25,000th most viewed stream on Twitch. Hooray! Raise our glasses. I'm not a member. You have to be a full-time employee to be a member. What was the day we switched to creative? That's January 19th. Yeah, which was like a month before you see that bump in the graph, right? Because this is February 19th. On January 19th, I don't think there was any significant change, right? Yeah, there was what, 200 views that day, and then the next day it was about 200. Yeah, there's no real change until a month after. I don't get it. Day of open doors. Oh, that's cool. Okay, so the account server needs to have a REST client. It has that, but now it needs to pass it into its own server. So let's go do that. So set up matchmaker REST client. In fact, this needs to happen before the REST server is listening, right? This is kind of weird. Yeah, like this could have never been here anyway. I do not understand people have to do that on motorcycles. Really? Do you search for these things? Do you just write them? So let's put this promise up here. And this is where the ordering of things gets a little bit strange. We're connecting to the matchmaker before we even connect to the overseer. So if this fails, something's gonna be a little weird, but whatever. You're browsing programmer humor quite often. Okay, so new REST server. Let's go into the server. It's constructed right now with a whole bunch of different things, and this is why I'm hesitant to put more into here. I should just make it take params. Yeah, let's do that. It's about time. So now all of these things need to be converted. So there's that, right? I did that right? Yeah. So at param object params, an object with the following. Okay, Original Pepper. I can't tell if you were reading chat or not, but EJ asked the same question. It was on January 19th. With the following properties. And then here's where I guess we get rid of these things. Well, I don't know. I need to fix this. Yeah. Adam fixed this comment to reflect what's in params correctly. I'll do this at the end. We'll just duplicate this a bunch of times from now. Alright, so then database wrapper, that is used in one place. So params.database wrapper looks good. Super token password. We make sure that that's set. Params dot. Good. JWT secret. Okay, I don't know what I was just thinking right there, but params dot, there we go. So, and then item template depot. Good. Salvage pack generator. Good. And starter inventory. Alright, done. So they've been converted to params. Now I need to convert it on the other end of things too. So let's do this. This is the fastest way for me to get all of these. There. Now I just make sure that they're set on the main end of things. So we do this. Okay, so the listen port is this. The super token password is this. The JWT secret. The item template depot. The database wrapper, the solid pack generator, and the inventory. Okay, great. Now here's what we do to make this super easy. We just search for colons and hit Control J, and we're done. Isn't that a cinch? All right, so I wanted to add something to this, which was the matchmaker REST client. And now we pass that into here. Hey, coolest. Alright, so now this is saved. When we do add user to queue, what we can do here is this dot matchmaker REST client dot, and then call into this function that I wrote with the user ID and the skill level. And we probably need to return something after that. Oh, this is where things get weird, because this is asynchronous. We're already calling into an API. Yeah, there's just multiple levels of indirection. But this returns a promise, so I guess this should return a promise? No, it shouldn't. What am I doing? So we'll get a response back, and we need to be able to handle it. And then, I don't know what, just res.send 200. And then catch error res.send 500. I'll just say logger.info returning 200 from add user to mmq in server.js. These won't stay here like this, but they're quietly ponders the fate of his chat. He combined fate and fail into fate. And I thought it was an accurate portmanteau. Okay, so that's done. All right, so where are we at? There is an API that you can call into with MMQ. You can specify a token. The token will extract your user ID and send it along with your skill level to the matchmaker. The matchmaker on its end will respond with a 200. Let's try that out. Alright, so let's restart this. And let's restart this. Right, so far, so good. So now we connect to this, but we post in a token that's valid. Thankfully, I know just the thing. It's called... Uh-oh. Wait a second. How do you do this? It's the account server I want to save this in. Add to MMQ. Add user to MMQ. Collection name. Save to existing. I want it in the account server collection. Oh, come on. It shows me botland and it shows me game server cluster, but it doesn't show me account server. Oh, it's a subfolder? I didn't know that. Okay, cool. So now we need to do get token. Where's get token? Create token. Just hit send. Resource not found. Oh, man. Launch. Alright, why is this failing? Where am I trying to connect? This is in the account server, and I'm trying to connect to tokens, and it says tokens does not exist. I don't believe you, Chuck E. Cheese. Give me the tokens. Right here. How does it not exist? It's .server.post tokens create token. What's going on? Oh, right, the what's this called? The port is wrong. There we go. So here's our token. Now we take this token and we save it into here. This is where variables would be really helpful, actually. I should probably learn how those work at some point. Let's save and send this. So we got a 200, and this should have printed something out. What did it print? In fact, it should print it here. Someone called into add user to MMQ. This is just a stub function, though. Good. Perfect. That's all I wanted to test out. All right. Well, I'll be downstairs if you need me. Yeah, see you guys. Okay, fine. I actually do need to raise this further. Alright. So now it's to finish up the rest of these things. Like, at some point, ideally, this should do something. Like, I think you're the only one who appreciates that. You laughed at something else earlier. Oh, yeah. The finishing each other's sentences thing. Alright, so for this to work, instead of just passing in this state, we're going to need the queue in there as well. So let's pass that in. Let's make sure that that is named correctly. And then let's save it off. And we'll use it. So when we get into here, here's what we need to do. We need to call into add player to queue player. Now this assumes that a player already exists, but we have the player object and it only takes an ID and skill. So I guess what we could do is we could say, well, there are two things. One is take in the constructor properties of a player, and two is just construct the player on the caller side. I think the caller should just construct it, but I don't totally like it. Breathing heavily for about 0.4 seconds. Hey, JWL. And Beta Wasley. That name, by the way, is the kind of name that you'll never know where the emphasis should be. Like, you might not want me to pronounce it that way, and then you should tell me how you want to pronounce it. And hi, Spy. Okay, so we can call into this queue. We can say .add player, and like I said, we either construct it here, we do like a new player, user ID, skill level, which we need to extract, or we make an API that lets us pass in just user ID and skill level. Now I think I want to do this second one, so let's do that second one. Add player to queue by params, user ID and skill level, and we say const player equals new player, user ID skill level, this dot add player to queue, add Pallier, guys, I have to wait, what? Yeah, I think I'm going to do this. In fact, maybe I want to do this differently. Well, that's good for now. So let's extract out of the request, let's get the user ID and the skill level. I think I should take a page out of the central server's book and figure out how this is supposed to work. So we have get rect body password. What is this API? Create user. Let's go take a look at create user. Create user is up here, and we took username and password from the body, not from the headers. I guess this should be in the body then? I don't know. How do you... Alright, I think I might have messed up the protocol here. This does .set, which I don't really remember where that goes. Extra params. Where does BL token go? All the kappas. So we get this from the header. So how do we set it? How do we set it? With .set. Man, it's .send that I wanted. Oh, whatever. In fact, I probably shouldn't have done any of this stuff. Oh my god. Alright, quit the emote spam. Okay, so there's no problem with doing things this way, and I'm not actually sure how... I'm not sure what is RESTful. Is it putting things in the header, or is it putting it in the body? I don't know the answer. I don't know what I prefer to do. I guess throw this into the body. .send user ID skill level. Let's do things that way. Then I'll pull them out of the body there. Alright, so getting them from the body, we need Lodash. There. Now I do _.get rect.body, and then I want to specify the user ID. Now if this isn't specified, well then there's a big issue, but always use the body. Okay, then I have another to-do item. And this is another overseer thing. Change register with overseer so that it uses the body in the REST call, not the headers. I should say where I'm supposed to change this, which is here, although it's probably everywhere. Probably everywhere, but definitely at least in the account server. So I really want to rename that folder at some point. Rename the central server folder to account server. Overloaded shortcuts. What are points for? That's what they're for. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. Close, close. Okay, so we get these from the body. We need to make sure that they're defined. So if... Do I have util here? I don't even think this is accessible to the matchmaker. I never included this, did I? I did. Aha. So then we can do this. So if not util.exists user ID, then we do rest.send. I always forget HTTP status codes. It's 403, I think. No, it's not. Darn it, I was close. What is it really? Bad request. Apparent client error. Yeah, 400. 400 is what I wanted. I thought it converted in weeks and days. Yeah, it did. I know, upgraded. Quotation marks. Why Bing? Ha, I beat chat to it. Alright, so if it doesn't exist, send 400 back with... And this is an internal API, so we can actually say what the error is, which is user ID was not defined. I wonder if I should log this error first. And same thing here with skill level. Okay, and at that point, we'll know that we have it. We add the player, we return the response. That means that add player to queue by params. This needs to return this, and then this needs to return something. Return success? I don't know. Needs to be some sort of return true. To do this should return a better indication or some more detail. I don't know what. Indicate that we successfully added the player to the queue. RESTAPI-tutorial.com. Interesting, I haven't heard of this site. Okay, I'll take a look at this sometime. And then status codes. Yeah, I like the Wikipedia page for this because it gives you a little description of all of these. Although I guess they, oh, interesting, you can just click them. Nice. Yeah, it's actually pretty good. Purple Ham says, what is being worked on? It is a game called Botland. And it looks like this. Although I also linked in a video. But it's an online strategy game. Is anyone online? Probably not. Nope, just me. Well, anyway, in this game, you make bots by combining hardware pieces. So I have some over here. This is not the final UI for this. So right now it's all text, and it's very ugly text too. It's all in capital letters. But you get 7 levels worth of stuff you can put on your bots. So here, as long as all the levels add up to 7, it's pretty much fine. I'm not going to go into more depth than that. So here I've got like a melee, teleport, cloaking bot, and then you automate your bots. So I can do something as simple as just moving randomly, and I can deploy that, and you see it there in the background, moving randomly. Or I could do something more complex like this, which is if melee will hit, then use melee. Otherwise, try teleporting to an enemy. If I can cloak, then cloak, and then pursue an enemy. Try reclaiming resources, move to the resources, blah, blah, blah. And then we can deploy those. And if anyone else connected, we'd be able to play against them. Otherwise, I'm just sitting around moving randomly. And yeah, and the video talks a little bit more about what the game is, but it's mostly that. So let me know if you have questions, Purple Ham. Okay, so this needs to return cons. I don't know, rep val for now. And then we need to return this back to the user. This is where I need to figure out the API contracts here. What's going to be returned? How do we know whether you were already in the queue, whether you weren't in the queue, whether you were already in a game? Any of those things could happen here. In fact, there are 3 responses from this. To do this API, 1 error, 2 added to queue, 3 already in queue, 4 already in game, and then probably include the game details. And cool, Purple Ham, what are you trying to learn off at the beginning? A bit of programming, basic on it. Okay, so in the case that it returns an error, we already covered those cases. Those are up here. And those are going to be sent back to the client, most likely. This is pretty challenging. So add user to queue, we get a response back. Now anything that's shared between these servers needs to go into its own module, probably infra constants, which I probably have access to, do I? Infra, nope, here I don't. All right, let's open up package.json and see what's going on here. Oh, what? Why did that not work? Infra constants. Okay, it exists there. Is it on the matchmaker as well? Yeah, it exists in both of these. So I gotta write that down. Make the matchmaker implement a contract for adding a user to the queue. There should be something stored in infra constants to indicate which types of messages can be returned. And then maybe the message structure is just something that's custom. But I think the return code is going to be important. Hey, Archboy. Archboy, I'll give you a token if you want. Token Archboy. There. You should have gotten it. Also, I guess I could just run a normal giveaway. Official Keisha and Cation? Kesha? I don't know. Make the matchmaker implement a contract for adding a user to the queue. There should be something stored in infra constants. I need to think of how this is going to work. Right now, we don't keep track of who's in what game. And that needs to be there somewhere too. In fact, this is kind of the core. Oh, see you, EJ. Take care. Oh, you're just here? Yeah, you should get a whisper from BotLad. Do you see how my lights are changing color in the background? You will be able to do that. What language am I working in? I'm working in JavaScript. And I don't know if you heard my question earlier, Purple Ham, but what language are you trying to learn? Oh, yeah. I gave you should get a whisper from BotLad with a link to control my lights. Unless you have whispers turned off. All right, let me think about this. So, Adam, can I have a token? Yeah, I'll give you one after Kesha or Keisha is done. I'm debating on how to structure this because this is what's going to have to do this checking. It's not even this. It's like get user status or add to queue. So this is not even the name of this API. It's going to combine two different APIs. And that's why this is going to be challenging. So this is going to be something like get user queue status or add. Or I could do this here. Yeah, that's probably a better idea. Yeah, let's do that. So const user is in queue equals this dot mmq dot get player queue status. Or get player game status maybe? Is player in queue user ID? Do I want to do something like that? This function will need to exist at some point, so I might as well write it now. Is player in queue user ID. And we can check to see if they're in the queue to just see if they are. You know, in fact, we could store them by ID to make this check pretty easy. But for right now, making it OVAN is totally fine. I'll just write that we can eventually change it. So wait time list, a sorted list of players, the players with the longest wait time, a sorted list of players in the queue. Yeah. So that's what we want to use. Every time we add a player, we push them into this list. And every time a player is done, we should remove them from that list. Right. Pull all, yes, perfect. Okay, so is player in queue is simply return underscore dot. Oh, what's the name of that API? Is it contained? Includes. Check if value is in collection. Yeah, but we can't do it this way because that's not how this works. So to do, make a data structure that stores players by ID if they're in the queue so that this can be done in constant time. Or, I don't know. No, this is all going to have to change. This might be too much for today. Started in Visual Basic in my programming class for college, super basic stuff. But that's really good, and everyone needs to start somewhere, and I think Visual Basic is totally fine as a starting point. Just starting out, and I've been having to focus more on school than programming, so I haven't looked at many languages. Yeah, and I don't think it matters too much what you start with. I think as long as you're having fun and you're learning. Digia says, are your gets simply returning the value on the object? If so, it might save a bit of headache to adapt a more of a this.get property, as it'll save a lot on functions. Are you talking about the defining an object property? Because yeah, that is all that gets are doing. And I imagine that V8 would eventually, well, I'm not super concerned about that. Those in my mind are definitely micro optimizations, but also high. And yeah, Spurman, it does. And I think that's what Digia is suggesting. I'm going to give coolest the token now, and then that's it for today, I think. All right, so this is where I'm not sure if I want to do things this way. Eventually I need to store, how do I want to keep track of games? How am I going to keep track of which players are in which games? So the operations I need to perform are given user X, give me the game that they're in. And actually I think that's the only operation I need. In which case I would store it something like this. Games equals, or players in games equals like 5 game info, 6 game info. Maybe this would be like game number 1, game number 1, game number 2. Or I could keep track of whether they're in the queue. So I could say player status equals 5 in-game blah 6 in queue, and update them that way. So basically every player to ever be active online right now and playing or in a queue would be here. I think that's what I need to do. I think I need to do a player status sort of thing. And this would also have their player object. So it'd be player ID to player and status object. Status would be in queue or in game. And if in game, it would include the IP address and port of the game server. And then maybe eventually the mode as well. I think this is a really good way to structure things. And then I gain the O of 1 lookup time for this too, which is, oh, human optimization, I see. Yeah, that's something I always kind of wondered about, whether property descriptors make things easier or harder. Like in C# there are fields, and I think it's a little strange when you do something like foo.bar, and bar is really some field somewhere that's returning, it could be anything, this dot something +1 for all you know. But I don't know, they have their uses. I just like things being incredibly explicit. Yeah, I think everyone's still learning, maybe not like the programming language. I think you can master a programming language, but I think that doesn't mean you know how to write a program. Writing a program is more than just the programming language. There are design concepts and maintaining it and commenting it, documenting it. There's a whole lot of extra stuff. Definitely looks like baggage from other languages. You can always add an override where it looks for a function by that name first, and if not, grabs a property. Yeah. Property descriptors are used as a refactoring tool. That's why I have getters and setters as a refactoring tool. So if I ever need to change them later, I can. But I don't know. When you want to calculate something which was an ordinary public attribute. Yeah. Well, I think this is the kind of thing that's going to happen tomorrow, to be honest. I don't think now is a good time for this. But I think this is where I left off and where I should definitely. So let's write this down. Let's make sure this is up here. So this is sort of like a side to-do list. Let's put this up here. All of this. Okay, so now where I left off is I want to implement this data structure into the matchmaking queue class. Player status. This is mapping of player ID to player and status objects combined into one. Maybe a player status object. I don't know. Yeah, that's decent, right? And then status would be in game or in queue. If that, yep, good. So the reason I was working on this is so that I could finish coding the whole end-to-end flow of adding a user to the queue. Because first we need to check if they're already in the queue or in the game. And if so, return the appropriate value. This is probably something that should be designated by a constant in botland in for constants, which I already verified is being required from both the overseer and the account server. Okay, what's going on? What else am I missing? Mike says, would you consider yourself a good programmer? I don't know. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably at a 7. That's what I'd guess. Edster Gamer says, I'm 12 and I learned Python and JS. That's really good. That's really, really good. Good job, Edster. What else do we have? Oh, yeah. I forgot about that, Digia. That's the new ES6 feature, right? Getter and setter. Yep. I forgot about this. In fact, I don't use this for some reason. Why don't I use this? Weird. Yeah, weird. These are just like Python though, syntactically at least. This part of it at least, that they're properties. What else did I miss in chat? Yeah, you were talking about. Okay. You have a stream schedule? Yeah. So it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday from 9 to 5. And that's my time, of course. So currently it's 5 o'clock my time. You can always run this command in chat, streamer time, to figure out what time it is for me. What else did I miss in chat? So the player status is either in the game or waiting. How about spectators? There's no spectating yet. So that's something I'd have to add later if there was eventually, if I had that feature in. Oh, CJWL. Yeah, I'm actually getting close to signing off. Also, nope, those are from ES5. Really? Wow. I guess it's syntactic sugar for something that's in ES5. Right? What does that transpile to? If I type this code exactly, oh, interesting. Yeah, it is from ES5. Okay. Good job, Digia. Purple Ham, thanks for following. Yeah, so tomorrow I don't plan on streaming. I want to do some extra work. I don't know when I'm going to get the time to do it exactly, but I won't be streaming tomorrow most likely. But I think I'm going to leave you guys again with Zeef. He's working through this marathon. I want to help him out as much as I can. But yeah, it's 5 o'clock. I know today was a weird day. I had that speech in the middle of it that I had to go to. But it's super hot in this room. I got to turn the AC on. So I'm going to get going. I'll leave you guys with Zeef. Thank you very much for watching. If you like what you saw, please follow. And I'll see you guys on Friday. So take care.